This week we've got questions on Chesterton, the Rites of Summer, the Greater Idaho movement, and Charles answers whether the Supreme Court is turning the United States into a monarchy. Welcome to another episode of Off the Menu. I'm your host, Vincent Franchini from Tumblr House, here with a nugatory Charles Coulombe. Oh, by the way, we're broadcast and podcast by the Crusade Channel. Talk radio the way it should be at crusadechannel.com.
I was going to ask about that. You didn't do that first.
I'm okay, Mike. I'm okay. I got it in there.
Well, you're so okay. How come you're the Ed McMahon of or the Peter Barlow of non-bespoke clothing is nugatory?
The Peter... Wait, what? What did you say? The Peter Barlow of non-bespoke clothing?
Yeah.
That's you?
That's me. Because remember, he's the Ed McMahon of bespoke clothing. Now, this is not bespoke. This is a Hollywood suit center special. So it's not bespoke.
Yeah.
So, I mean, his implication was that he's a step lower than Ed McMahon. So my implication is that I'm a step lower than Peter Barlow.
Fair.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
and the proof of the pudding is that you called me nugatory.
Yeah.
Meaning trifling, unimportant. So basically you're saying I don't matter.
In a certain sense.
Yeah? Well, if that's true, how come I can vote? See, I am important. I mean something to somebody. Yeah, I don't know who. Certainly not the people I vote for, or the people I vote against. Although I guess I mean less to the people I vote against than the people I vote for. But the people I vote for don't really care what I think anyway. So the people, it's very confusing. Maybe I am nugatory. You know what? I withdraw the objection.
On the basis of your self-worth or the lack of self-worth of voting?
Well, yeah, the fact that I've tacked my colors to the mast, and the mast is the importance of my voting. You know, I don't know. It's tough, and that isn't all. That isn't the only problem.
What? What's the problem?
Well, for one thing, you may have noticed, ladies and gentlemen, in case my ever efficient employer here has somehow missed out, we are in the same old Studio C that we were in before, and I am not 6,000 miles across the sea as I was 1 week ago today.
Yeah.
See, I was still on the other side of the water.
Yeah.
But you know what happened?
What?
What happened was an all Sons of Priests movement crew, well, Ed Thoitz isn't, but David and Tobias Rinnick, and the ineffable and never sufficiently to be mentioned Uri and Basil Terek, Pototsky Terek, to be honest. These four sons of priests took apart my menage for me, with the help of Edward Thoitz, who is married, although he's not the son of a priest.
You lost me after Sons of Priests.
Well, Byzantine, of course.
Oh, okay. Sorry, my Roman bias was kicking in.
Nor
alarm bells were going off.
Nor was I using it as some sort of insult. Ah, you son of a priest. That's not.
Well, actually, I mean, it was somewhere between, that sort of weirdness and then the priests of love.
Well, gee.
So, I was.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have to explain something. The priests of love are not a strange religious order. They are, in fact, the house band of the first cabin, Arcadia's very own dive bar.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, if you're an Arcadian or in the towns around, and you haven't had a trip to the first cabin, you really haven't lived here. I think that's fair to say.
That's fair to say.
Yeah. So, and I'm glad to tell you that despite COVID, despite all the drivel that the universe could throw at them, Pat O'Brien and the Priests of Love are still performing, still riding high, all these years later.
in an ever-changing world, they're the one constant that I can count on.
That's for sure. That's for sure. You know, you may not be able to count on the Curia, but you can count on Pat O'Brien and the Priests of Love. They're still doing what they've always done. I remember they got my brother Andre got really annoyed with them one night, simply because I got them to play the Ballad of the Green Berets. So he was annoyed. But they'll do any '60s thing at all.
Yeah,
they're very good with that. The thing with my brother is that you've got to get him really drunk if you want him to sing in public.
Ooh.
Not just somewhat. He's got to be.
And what does he sing? Like, what will he be singing then?
I can tell you, we did a duet of. We did two things actually. We did. This is many years ago, ladies and gentlemen. We did For What It's Worth.
Oh, okay.
And we did Fireball XL5.
Okay.
I know what you were hoping for.
What was I hoping for?
You were hoping for the Ode to Billy Joe and The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia.
No, I wasn't hoping for those.
Or you were hoping for some Billy Joel hit. Like, I don't know, Scenes of an Italian Restaurant and
Piano
Moving
Man.
Out.
Piano Man.
Piano Man, yeah. Or Moving Out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what you were hoping for.
Yeah.
But I do love the first cabin, though. John at the Bar is a friend of mine.
Yeah, he gets you your drinks for free.
Yes, he does indeed. And he's quick with a joke.
Or light up your smoke.
But there's some place that he'd rather be. He said, Charles, I believe this is killing me. And as the smile ran away from his face. For I know that I could be a movie star if I could get out of this place. Oh, la, de la, la, de la. Oh, actually, one of the verses does now really refer to me.
What?
I said, son, can you play me a melody?
That's
I'm not
sad,
really
Charles.
sure how it goes. But it's sad and it's sweet, and I knew it complete when I wore a younger man's clothes.
That's true.
See? Friedhof's blonde, ladies and gentlemen. Graveyard blonde is what they call my color hair in Vienna. Does he or doesn't he? Only his undertaker knows for sure.
Okay.
Anyway, on a happier note, if I can say that in a sense, July the 20th, which is the day in real time that we're doing this, July the 20th is...
What?
It is the anniversary, the 80th anniversary of Stauffenberg's coup against Hitler that sadly failed, and the 60th anniversary...
Of what?
No, it's not, actually, that's not right. It's not the 60th. It is the 50... Oh, gosh, the 55th anniversary, 54th anniversary of the moon landing.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
One small step for man, one giant step for mankind. Apollo 11.
Yeah.
Think about that. You know, it's the kind of thing that really makes you wish I was a spaceman. The fastest guy alive. I'd fly you around the universe in Fireball XL5. Way out in space together, conquerors of the skies. My heart would be a fireball. A fireball. You're not looking impressed.
Okay, Rocket Man.
Oh, life on Mars. What is it? Commander Cody in Sky Patrol.
Oh.
What was his thing? Was Commander somebody?
I don't know.
Oh, well.
All right. A couple small things before we start the show. So we asked you guys to get some pictures for us for Halloween, to show some Halloween. Joseph, who I think is a paisan, he says Michael in Woodside, TJ Maxx in Costco. But no picture. No picture of this, Joseph. We need a picture, or it didn't happen.
No picture didn't happen, no.
Yeah.
We need those pictures, and they will be shown.
Yeah.
So also, I think a moment of a microsecond of silence for Rite Aid.
Wait, it went belly up?
Well, not entirely, but they've closed down a lot of their stores. It did go bankrupt, Chapter 11, and so they've closed down a lot of their stores. You know what else closed was the book rack here in Arcadia.
I did know that. I actually incidentally knew that because I had never brought my wife there. I brought her there, and the very old lady told us like, "Hey, the books were unbelievably cheap. There was like $2 like for a book." So it was quite busy, but yeah, that's a sad thing.
What's even sadder, I just read today when I saw that it was closed. I read the LA Times article about it from February. And she couldn't afford to stay here, to live, I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
So she's moving to her sister's in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Yeah.
Now, when I hear these people in Sacramento, with the Orify, yapping about quality of life and all that, there are two sides that your economy is messed up. One is when young people can have no hope of getting a start on their own.
Yeah.
And the other is when old people can't stay.
Yeah, I don't understand where that goes.
Well, I can tell where it goes. It slowly cannibalizes the productive until they give up. Then all you're left with are the creatures in Sacramento, the vampires with no blood left.
Yeah, because
I guess they'll have to get elected to national office.
Yeah, I just don't understand the math here in California. I mean, because pretty much every home is $1 million unless you're living in the desert. So if you're putting away $20,000 a year, you're buying $1 million house, you're going to pay $50,000 a year on interest. I don't. The math doesn't check out.
No, it doesn't.
I don't understand how it's going to work.
Well, see, it doesn't have to work because they're too stupid to care. As long as the money's still coming in, that's all I ask.
I guess so. I guess just as long as, sure.
And they'll run the horse into the ground, and then, wonder why it happened. The old joke about the farmer who had the goose who laid a golden egg every day.
Yeah.
Well, one day he got tired of waiting for one golden egg, and he thought, I know. Oh, kill him, cut him open, kill her, cut her open, and get all of the golden eggs. So he takes an axe to the goose, cuts her head off, cuts her open, and you know what he finds?
All the golden eggs?
No, oddly enough, however she was laying those things, there wasn't anything in her gullet. So this stupid farmer, having killed the goose that laid the golden eggs, got what stupid people deserve.
What's really scary to me and what I don't understand is I was really impressed in a bad way that California reelected Newsom. I was kind of dismayed at how large of a margin he won by.
Well,
but
stupid people get what they deserve.
I like to think that the rest of America isn't there.
Listen carefully.
Because they're talking about him, and it's like, for real?
Yeah.
I mean, so that means record doesn't matter at all, period.
No, it doesn't. Why should it? You can't blame a man for what he's done. You have to look at who he is in the moment. And let me tell you something. Governor Newsom, let me tell you, that man, if he were president of the United States, he could do for the country as a whole what he's done for California.
I mean, that's like next level sort of like, that's truly like relativism, like transgenderism, sort of like, yeah, I'm a horrible governor, one of the worst governors ever, that is going to self-identify as
a great president.
As a great president. Like, okay.
I'm transmental. I'm a moron trapped in a smart man's body, or vice versa. A smart man trapped in a moron's body. Well, whatever. No, I mean, look, The people of California deserve Newsom because they voted
Hey.
for him. No, it's the way it is. And all I can tell you, America, is that if you take this piece of garbage and you vote for him, then you deserve him too. The good news is he'll be out of Sacramento and we'll have some other nitwit.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe Kamala Harris. They could do a switch. Because the question I have, if Biden does abandon the ticket,
yeah,
and they don't let Kamala have the first place,
yeah.
would she stay on as vice president under gruesome Newsom? Would there be a gruesome Newsom twosome?
Oh, don't say that. Well, actually, that they kind of actually are fitting in a certain sense. There are some kind of there are some similarities there actually.
A gruesome Newsom twosome.
Okay. Oh man. Okay.
All right. Say this. Say, I have oceans of respect.
I have oceans of respect
for the American political class.
No.
You don't know what I'm going to get you to. So come on, ride with me.
I can't say this. I can't say the things that you're telling me to say.
Why can't you say them?
Because they're not true.
What, you don't think we have a political class?
We have a political class.
What isn't true?
The oceans of respect.
Well, it could be true if you allowed it to be. You're the only one stopping yourself from having oceans of respect for our masters.
That's true.
See?
I'm content with stopping myself.
That's downright un-American.
Okay.
Let me tell you something. We fought a revolution to free ourselves of reality, and we won. Yeah. And you know what else? What else?
What?
The same goes for the monkeys, too.
The monkeys?
Yeah, the band.
Hey, we're the monkeys?
People say we monkey around.
Yeah.
But we're too busy singing to put anybody down.
Okay.
We're just trying to be friendly. Anyway, we're the young generation. We've got something to say. Notice they never did get around to saying it.
I guess so.
Well, I mean, Daydream Believer was a statement of sorts.
Yeah, I like that song.
Hang on, sleepy dream. Oh, what can it mean to a daydream believer and a homecoming queen?
What's the song? Then I saw her face. No,
that's I'm a Believer.
Yeah.
I thought love was only something in fairy tales, there for someone else, but not for me. But love was out to get me. That's the way it seems. What? Listen, these verses spoke to a whole generation. They did. They did. I'm not your stepping stone. Another Happy Valley Sunday. Something or other here in Status Seeker Land. Yeah, I mean these were songs. These were songs that spoke to who we were at that time.
Well,
and I think they still do. I think the songs of the 60s, which you contemptuously dismiss as boomer music, had deep meanings for each of us. And they called on us to have an alternative view of the here and the now, and to let the now happen, to let the moment occur.
I feel like that's judgmental. Who are you to say that I wasn't letting the now happen?
No, because
I was more now than you are.
No, you're a Generation Xer. You're not even that. You're Grandpa Millennial.
I'm Grandpa Millennial. You're Baby Boomer.
I am very much so. About 3 more years is the cutoff date, ladies and gentlemen. 64. I was born in 60, so I'm my agent though. He was born in 64, so he is absolutely the babiest of boomers. But nevertheless, look at everything we gave you guys that you're totally resentful We gave you the music. We gave you the styles. We gave you free love. We gave you STDs. Everything. And is there any kind of appreciation? No, it's all, okay, boomer. Well, let me tell you something. If it weren't for our generation, you people would have a legacy to inherit. So there.
Oh, you really got us, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. Showed you. No, don't think we used up everything useful. We left a few crumbs here and there. But you have to hunt for them.
All right. Helvicio said, so what we were talking about, the Tumbler House Tower, the employees. So in reference to that, he says, you two are thinking too small about what to do with the remains of your employees' estivation. That Charles would instantly opt for its destruction is to be expected. But I thought the consummate businessman Vinny could find the way to profit from this windfall. Signature silken Tumbler House suits. Can't get them anywhere else.
No, indeed.
Free shipping and handling. Operators standing by. Sorry, no CODs. Void were prohibited.
You know, I think that there are a lot of jurisdictions in which alien hybrid cocoon silk might be prohibited.
It's a tricky thing to navigate with customs. 100%. We've explored the possibilities. And
customs. I think you'd have a hard time getting them to other states, except maybe New Mexico and Nevada.
that too. Yeah.
New Mexico and Nevada, ladies and gentlemen, they have a lot of experience with, well, alien hybrids.
Yeah. How would you know about that?
Alien hybrids?
Yeah.
Hybrid. Never mind. No, I can watch the X-Files as much as anybody.
We should go into business with Peter Barlow and sell him some of that material for that silken.
No, Peter, it's true. It doesn't get more bespoke than alien hybrid cocoon silk. You're not going to get this anywhere else except right here. So this is a challenge for both you and the prof. Can you come up with suits made out of this very special material with properties that are literally out of this world? And turn it as, imagine, if you will, a suit, right, that can alter its shape at will. Like, let's say you want real thick lapels. Suddenly, you have thick lapels. Imagine that. That'd be something, wouldn't it? A suit that you could literally program to fit the latest style, or to go back and be something classic. I've got a bit of a gut right now, and as Peter has rightly pointed out in one of his videos, at our age, you've got to choose up or down.
Yeah.
Now, I should be up, really, but this suit just doesn't have enough material. But if this was from one of our alien hybrid cocoon silk suits, the thing would go just by wishing it to.
Wow.
See?
A little creepy, but a little creepy.
Creepy?
Yeah, I feel like that'd be a marketing challenge.
Every innovation is creepy at first.
I don't know if that's true.
It is true. All right. The Wright brothers, the airplane, that was creepy.
Okay.
Leaving gravity, right?
Leaving gravity? Okay.
Not gravity, but, getting up in the air. Going into outer space at all.
Okay. I don't know. Okay, go. Yeah.
Going into outer space, landing on the moon and Mars.
Okay, we're kind of have a narrow focus here, but okay.
Going into outer space. And interbreeding with alien races.
Okay. There is a very specific trajectory that you have this.
Well, these are all jumps in mankind's progress.
Okay.
Now, I've been asked how, and by the way, my use of this term, what I'm about to say, is a purely popular one. And this is a disclaimer.
Okay.
We are not accepting the charges. There are no admission of guilt here. Nothing at all. And my use of the term that I'm about to use is a purely jocular and popular one, and not an admission of guilt by this business establishment or any other. So I've been asked, how is it, Charles, that a mafia family could ally with various alien races? All right. One thing you have to understand is you learn on the streets of New York how to make a deal. And sometimes the deal comes along. What do you gotta say? No? Especially when they've got sort of a stinger aimed at you. So, I hope I'm not giving away too much here. But suffice it to say that when faced with potential annihilation and a pretty good business deal, but what would you do? Fair enough?
Fair enough, I guess.
Yeah. And let me tell you something. We don't got mattresses thick enough to deal with them people.
Well, that's very true.
If people is exactly the word I want to use. Anyway, just remember that one of the reasons why you should vote against Trump is that the massive surge of aliens in places like Roswell and Area 51 would be brought to a halt.
The massive what?
Flow of aliens. Isn't there something in Trump's speeches about cutting off the flow of aliens?
Yeah, it's they're invading.
Right now. See?
Yeah.
Now, why should beings from Alpha Centauri or the Pleiades or wherever they're from, why should they be able to simply land here in their technologically superior craft and do whatever they want? And that, I mean, the Biden administration has permitted this, and I think it's terrible.
I think it's ridiculous. They're taking our jobs.
For sure. I mean, I could have been an Ostny by now.
Really?
Yeah, but instead, they've got those people doing that.
Outrageous.
I'll tell you what. Ladies and gentlemen, if you think we've got off County Road 35A, you're right.
All right.
Should we get back on the county road?
Let's, for the time being, just for a little bit. So when we did the show last week, we just had barely finished, and I heard the news about Trump's rally and the attempt on his life.
Yeah.
So Charles didn't get to talk about that, so I thought I'd just,
Well, I mean, for starters, the first thing, let me say, is that it signals ever further our descent into sort of banana republic status. Obviously, I remember when Wallace was shot at. One of my first datable memories is when JFK was killed. But neither of those seemed to were greeted with such almost jubilation on one side.
Yeah.
And then, of course, almost immediately, the conspiracy theories started, which may or may not be true. That the Secret Service, I was shown a video that showed people being pushed out of the way, the trajectory of the bullet minutes, or seconds rather, before he was actually shot.
Huh. Now,
coincidence? Quite possibly, or not. I don't know. I have no opinion.
Yeah.
Because to have an opinion on this would imply that I know something, and I don't. I know that the guy was outside the range. He was there on the roof. There were all sorts of weird things about his being there. The ladder that he used wasn't the ladder that he bought earlier. Supposedly, several people pointed him out to Secret Service. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever the case is, do you think it's pretty severe negligence?
I don't know. But, I mean,
Okay.
It could very well be. But, of course, I also saw them throw themselves around the president.
Yeah.
And I can only say that if it was a conspiracy, his immediate guards weren't in on it.
Yeah.
And of course, what I found really, really pathetic were the various news things saying, he stumbled, he fell because of the bright lights.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, that was the initial reaction of people like CNN and MSNBC. Was this kind of drivel? He tripped.
It was crazy. Yeah, I remember when I Googled it. Like, I heard from my wife. They said they're shooting at Trump, and I Google it, and all these headlines didn't make sense. I was like, I don't understand what. Okay.
It's like if somebody blew up the CNN headquarters and somebody said there was a minor malfunction
Yeah.
in their electricity. No, actually, if you blew it up,
Yeah.
it'd be blown up.
Yeah.
Not that I'm urging people to blow up CNN. That's not the point. The point is that that kind of ridiculous reportage,
Yeah.
It gives the impression that they were happy that he was shot at, and they were sorry that they missed.
Well,
the guy missed.
I mean, well, that goes into one of the sort of the talking points, which is there's so much rhetoric of comparing Trump to Hitler, and then it's weird because then everyone after the fact says, "Oh yeah, we're glad he's safe." Well, is he Hitler? I mean, like, how do you reconcile the two, right? Like, how do you, like, which one's right? Like,
I don't know. It's madness, but then he went on to give a very interesting speech at the convention.
Yeah, I actually, I don't. He is very. He's top level right now. He is in top form. I feel like.
In terms of one thing you can be assured of that having been saved from death, he will feel, and who wouldn't, an almost messianic drive, because he'll feel that he was spared by heaven for some greater purpose, and who wouldn't?
Sure.
Now, that's the one thing. The second thing, of course, is that his vice president is an interesting character, being from a real Protestant hillbilly background and a convert to traditional Catholicism. So that's kind of wild. It's a very difficult situation in some ways. Vance, he's soft, shall we say, in certain areas, which is probably why he's in office. But on the other hand, his declaration that he wanted to be buried in the family plot in Kentucky was met by your favorite person, Alex Wagner, when she said, wanting to be buried in Kentucky with his ancestors is the supremacy of whiteness and masculinity. Oh, shut bloody up. I mean, where do we get such moronic stupidity? The triumph of women. I want to be buried at Notre Dame Cemetery in my family plot in Fall River, Massachusetts, surrounded by Coulombes and various other French Canadians.
What did you? So it's a triumph of white masculinity?
Yeah, the supremacy. I mean, which doesn't quite make sense.
Okay.
Triumph, I think, is what she meant, but she said supremacy.
Cool, white masculinity, rock on. Okay.
Silly one. Well, what does she want?
What's wrong with masculinity?
What does she want? The women of color should be cremated and their ashes scattered? Is that what she's saying? Because she can start. If she wants to self-immolate herself like bloody Sati, I'd be against it personally, and I'd try to, pour water on her. But, of course, then again, you know what happens when you pour water on a witch.
Yeah.
But, no, I mean, the level of stupid is upsetting. And, of course, the other thing is, too, there's also the worry that this might inspire reprisals. I mean, the last thing we need is for somebody somehow connected with the Trumpster to blow Joe Biden away.
Yeah.
I mean, number one, you create a martyr, St. Joseph Biden, Virgin and Martyr, etc. Secondly, the guy, whoever replaced him, the Democrat, would definitely win, I think. Because there's a difference between an assassination attempt and actually getting potted. And yet, at this point, nobody would believe that it was actually a Trump supporter, even if it was.
But...
Because the Democrats are so keen on getting rid of Uncle Joe.
Just the places, I think everyone's mind's go-to is just pretty ugly in general, because like if he gets shot, then they'll people be like, oh, did the Dems do it himself to get him out? You know what I mean? But what's missing all the time is the lack of empathy. Like
the lack of empathy, the lack of there's no idea of the common good.
Yeah.
And there's no idea of common humanity. It's all gone.
Yeah.
You know, I've said it before on the show, but I'll say it again. It's like the old joke about the African convert. And the priest asked him, "Do you know the difference between good and evil, my son?" He said, "Yes. Evil is when my neighbor steals my cow. Good is when I steal his." And that's pretty much the moral reference that is dominant in America and a lot of the West today.
Yeah.
If it's in my favor or in the favor of my group or whatever, then it's good, no matter how terrible and disgusting. But if it's against us, no matter how actually objectively not a bad thing, well, then it's terrible and evil. I mean, you know, if depriving my particular social class, such as it is, of 10% of our income ended cancer among children, if we were sane, we'd say, well, that's what it takes. Great.
Yeah.
But the things are such today that I believe we would begrudge it. You know, who knows? I don't know any of these kids anyway. To hell with them. You know. I mean, it's really, it's the world we live in, ladies and gentlemen, and the only way you can really resist it is to not do it.
Yeah.
I mean, try not to rejoice in your enemy's defeats. Try not to crow. And remember, when somebody gets killed, a whole bunch of people get affected. Because even if you despise the person, somebody loves him. And you don't know how many people he's supporting. You don't know anything about it. So, at the risk of sounding like a Hallmark card, be kind.
If you could be anyone in anything in the world, be kind.
Yes. Speaking of Hallmark cards.
Yeah. Okay.
By the way, it's not true that I'm going to be the love interest on a forthcoming Hallmark series.
Yeah. By the way, so I mentioned this to you before the show. I just decided to mention it on air, which is during a Republican National Convention, the Hogan moment.
Oh.
The Hulkster moment, the Hulkamania moment where he rips off his shirt. I could not help but think of Charles and then President Camacho from Idiocracy. I just couldn't help it.
President Camacho.
We're one step closer.
Camacho in 24. I know everybody's stuff is emotional right now. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, yeah, I think President Camacho is the man for the current time. We can all unite around a man of that intelligence. President Camacho. Camacho in 24, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here first. Draft Camacho.
Draft Camacho?
Yeah, well, draft is what you say when someone is not running in the campaign.
Oh.
So you draft someone for it. And I say Republicans and Democrats alike, draft Camacho, a man who speaks to who we are as we are right this moment. Morons.
There we go.
You know, the maker of Idiocracy said he had said it 500 years in the future, not 15. But
all right, let's do some questions. We have a lot of really good questions today. First one is from Kyle, who says, is the story of Billy Joe McAllister true? If so, why did he jump? And is the bridge in Tallahatchie he jumped off the old covered bridge or the steel suspension bridge? And who's the innocent man who hanged on the night when the lights went out in Georgia?
Well, you know, we got us a little Southern Gothic going on here now. You know, it was this the 3rd of June, another dark and something dusty Delta day. I was out chopping cotton and my brother was a baling hay. You know this song?
Yes.
Well, I got some news from up on Choctaw Ridge. Today, Billy Joe McAllister jumped off the Tallahatchie Bridge. Ode to Billy Joe by Bobby Gentry. Well, that is a song, I'll tell you. Even if I listen to that song in the dead of winter, I feel kind of hot and sweaty, It's just, yeah. I got to say, yeah. So, basically, it is the fictional story. It did not happen. But the suspension bridge is the one. That's the Tallahatchie Bridge. And Choctaw Ridge is up there. And the whole story, though, was in Bobby Gentry's mind. It's not a true story.
Okay.
But basically, the idea is that she, the singer of the song, the character who's singing, she and Billy Joe were more than just friends. And somehow that caused him to kill himself, to jump off the Tallahatchie Bridge. At one point, it's announced by the mother that Brother Taylor, that nice young preacher who's coming by next Sunday for dinner, he had seen Billy Joe up on Choctaw Ridge with a girl who looked a lot like the singer. And together they were throwing something off the muddy waters of the Tallahatchie Bridge.
Okay.
So that would definitely imply that it could have been a baby, it could have been a diary, nobody knows what it was. And then, believe it or not, people have been sufficiently interested to come up with ideas that they'd had an infant out of wedlock, or that Billy Joe was queer and was throwing off incriminating evidence of some kind.
Yeah.
But Bobby Gentry herself, I believe, has always said it's a mystery even to her, though she wrote it. And it's meant to stay that way because it keeps the song kind of evocative, Yeah. And the singer's brother goes off to marry Becky Thompson. They buy a shop in Tupelo.
Yeah.
Tupelo, Mississippi.
Yeah.
Where Elvis was from.
Was that where he was from?
That's where Elvis was from Tupelo.
I thought he was from Tennessee.
No, he ended up there. But he was from Tupelo, Mississippi.
Wow.
And of course, her brother recollected how somebody else, and Billy Joe had put a frog down the singer's back at the Carroll County Picture Show. You seem extremely unimpressed with that.
Unimpressed.
Well, the night that the lights went out in Georgia is a little more exciting because there the mystery is solved.
Okay, what's the mystery?
Well, basically what happens is that this married fellow comes home from a 2-week trip away. He meets his best friend, who tells him something terrible, which is that the wife had been cheating on him with a local boy, literally. He gets very upset and angry and wants to do something terrible to the wife. But he says, cool down, I know you're upset, but to be honest, I've been with her myself. So basically, she was cheating on him with 2 guys for the price of 1. So, I don't know what happened to the kid, but the fellow goes home and he wants to kill his best friend. His wife isn't there.
Yeah.
So he grabs a gun, the only thing his father left him. He goes to the friend's house. He's about to blow him away when he sees him lying there in a pool of his own blood. And so the Georgia patrol is going along, so he shoots off the gun to get their attention. And the sheriff grabs him and says, why'd you do it? So they presume he was the murderer. The Cars tells us that that's the night that the lights went out in Georgia. That's the night that they hanged an innocent man. So don't trust your soul to no southern backwoods lawyer, because the judge of the town got up with blood on his hands. However, it is revealed in the last verse what really happened. The singer is the sister of the fellow.
Mm-hmm.
And she was the one who actually killed the wife for cheating and then killed the best friend.
Huh. Wow.
And she says of the wife, that's one body that'll never be found. And then after describing the death of the friend, she says, you see, little sister doesn't miss when she aims a gun.
All right, Southern Gothic.
That's the night that the lights went out in Georgia. That's the night that they hanged an innocent man. So don't trust your soul to no backwoods Southern lawyer, because the judge in the case got up with blood on his hand. You impressed?
No.
You feeling vaguely Southern?
I'm feeling vaguely Southern because it's so incredibly hot. It's like 90 degrees here, and the air conditioning on the lower floor, it's broke right now. It's been broke for several years, but it's broke right now too.
Stop talking.
So
what you're saying is right now, here in Arcadia, California, is a bit like To Kill a Mockingbird. It's a bit like Ode to Billy Joe. It's a bit like a really annoying episode of Matlock.
Yes.
I see. One of the rules about movies and television programs set in the hot South during the summer is that the overhead fan turns slower the hotter it is. It's kind of what you call a rule of dramatic camera work.
Interesting.
Well,
that totally makes sense. Yeah.
Sure. But, I just feel that this case did not receive enough attention.
What case?
Any case that comes across the court's attention. As an officer of the court, Your Honor, I have got to keep my eyes and ears out for elements of the truth.
Okay, you do that.
That's the night that the lights went out in Georgia. That's the night that they killed an innocent man. So don't trust your soul to no backwoods Southern lawyer, because the judge in the case got up with blood on his hands. And then you know what he did?
What'd he do?
He went to Mr. Cacciatore's down on Sullivan Street. Across the medical center.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Oh, good. All right, question from Vonday Radio, who says, Dear Charles, in the words of Ray Bradbury, tell us about your favorite Rites of Summer. From picking dandelions for dandelion wine to heaping a bonfire for St. John's Eve, what are moments of the season in which the immutable can be glimpsed through the veil of this material world?
Ooh, well, that's a good question. There are several like that in the summer. Going to the sea.
What do you mean? What, like the inevitable beach trip? Or yeah.
Going to the sea late at night with the moon and the stars shining over the sea.
When was the last time you saw the ocean?
When
was the last time you saw the Pacific Ocean?
Last year sometime.
Okay.
And then I would say, believe it or not, the roses for the summer. In other words, the gardens have roses, and they always affect me pretty strongly.
Yeah.
The bonfire, yes, whether it be in a park or in a backyard or on the beach, the bonfire seems dark summer night. Bartender too, but a bonfire seems very almost supernatural. And the fireworks of the 4th of July. Oh, I love fireworks. What they do for the imagination, they're really wonderful. Saturday in the park, I guess it was the 4th of July, Saturday in the park. It must have been the 4th of July.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's see. Love American style, truer than the red, white, and blue. Love American style, that's me and you. Another star-spangled night, my love. You can rest your head on my shoulder by the dawn's early light, my love. I will defend your right to cry. That was from Love American Style. It had all sorts of fireworks in the opening. I'll show you after the show.
Okay.
You'll get to catch up on this little bit of American pop culture that eluded you.
Yes.
But I would say the Roses of Summer, the bonfires in particular, and the fireworks.
Okay. Zenix says, salutation to the Capo dei Capi, to whom the Manicotis will bend the knee, the consigliere, who's always merry. Thank you, Zenix. So he says, reading Chesterton's writing on revolution has left me perturbed. So I must ask Charles a double-headed question. How could he say all that nonsense about wonderful equality in France being stamped out by scared tyrants across Europe? Am I missing some hyper-subtle sarcasm, or did he actually get suckered in by Robespierre?
Well, he got suckered in by Robespierre, but via my dear beloved Belloc, who in turn was suckered in by his cousin/uncle Danton. It's why you can't trust the Chester Belloc on French history.
Yeah. I mean, you've said this for many years. It's just, I guess, surprising that people that are so smart can simply be, quote-unquote, suckered in or susceptible to emotion or something like in that way.
You got to bear in mind that this was also reinforced by the First World War. And they were certainly all for the British and French against the forces of Prussianism.
Prussianism.
And, you know, there was this whole notion of the Union Sacrée, the sacred union between the Catholics and the anti-clericals in France to defeat the evil Hun. When the war was over, they, because they were both big on the rights of small nationalities, they favored the breakup not just of Germany, but also of Austria-Hungary. And that, of course, was a huge disaster.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have to, where they're good, is their analysis of the English situation. As soon as they begin looking at things foreign,
yeah. All right, Anita, superfan Anita says, greetings, gentlemen, and I hope you had a happy 4th. Amid the thrills, chills, and spills of both church and state, I wanted to ask Charles to opine about the Greater Idaho movement. This is where people in rural conservative Eastern Oregon, tired of being a permanent political minority in a state dominated by woke Portland, want to secede from Oregon and become a part of Idaho, which they think is more in line with their values. There are similar movements underway to get parts of Virginia and Maryland to secede and join West Virginia. The folks in Eastern Oregon don't want woke garbage in their communities, which the politically more powerful western part of the state foists on them. On the other hand, there seems to be an underlying presumption, which sounds less than okay from a Catholic view, that the woke garbage is okay for Western Oregon if they insist on it, as long as they don't push it on Eastern Oregon. Meanwhile, the wokesters think it is their mission in life to force their garbage onto everyone, as if it were the true religion, so they probably won't give up Eastern Oregon without a fight. As an Idahoan myself, I'm skeptical that Idaho is as great for the purposes of the movement as they give it credit for. As the left been working on this state for years, its capital and biggest population center, Boise, is already pretty far gone in liberalism. What says Charles about this type of political remedy? Thank you and God bless.
God bless you. Well, I'm afraid you've hit on a number of the problems. Firstly, that the more populated areas are not going to allow, if they can get away with it, they're not going to allow the the smaller and very often more entrepreneurial and growth oriented places because it would be killing the goose that lays the golden eggs. You know,
Yeah.
I remember when the San Fernando Valley wanted to secede from Los Angeles because so much more money is taken out of the valley and goes to the rest of the city
Mm.
than goes in.
Yeah.
Well, the problem, of course, is that not only would they have to pass the vote in the San Fernando Valley, which was hard enough, it had to be passed to the rest of the city as well. And it's very rare that you'll find people let the goose that lays the golden eggs waddle away.
Well, I guess you have to find a way to annoy or the rest of the board, create some sort of incentive. You know, I only very recently knew San Fernando Valley was actually part of the city of Los Angeles
Really?
because it's so disconnected. You've got that ridge in the center, and people don't really call it Los Angeles. I mean, you just call it the Valley,
Well, we
right?
do.
And they all have different respective locations. I mean, you've got Reseda, Encino, Woodland Hills.
All of which are
you
part of
know.
LA. And of course,
Yeah.
don't forget the wonderful song composed by Bing Crosby. Now I think that I'm safe in saying she will be waiting when my lonesome journey is done. And kind old Reverend Thomas made us a promise that he'd make the two of us one. So I'm hitting the trail for the cow country. You can send me my mail, care of RFD. I'm gonna settle down and never more roam and make the San Fernando Valley my home.
Beautiful.
And you know why Bing Crosby wrote and produced that song?
Because he has all the land in San Fernando Valley.
A lot of it, yeah. A big lot of real estate there. Well, it's true. It's like his ode to the racetrack at Del Mar. You know.
I love that. Just something so homey and you think so innocent, but then there's money underneath.
Where the surf meets the turf, down at old Del Mar. Take a plane, take a train, take a car. There's a smile on every face and a winner in every race. Where the surf meets the turf at Del Mar. And who was one of the major investors in the Del Mar racetrack?
Bing Crosby?
Hey, how'd you know? So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, no, it's a very nobody shoots Santa Claus, and the fact is that in so many places around this great country of ours, very liberal urban areas feed off of far more conservative rural areas. It is ridiculous to think that those I don't want the word to be quite as terrible as it appears, but to expect parasites to let go of the hosts easily.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be like watching a wasp land on a caterpillar and pick off her eggs. Would she do that?
Watching a wasp land on a caterpillar and then pick off her eggs?
Yeah, that she had laid to parasitize and cannibalize the caterpillar. Would that be likely to happen?
No.
No. Probably not.
No.
Would slaver ants suddenly pick up their slave ants and take them back to their original nest and drop them off?
No.
No? Oh. What about, well, you get the idea.
Yeah.
So that's not likely?
No.
Hmm. Well, let me ask you, what is likely, in your opinion?
I don't know. I don't know what the whole process is. I mean, so what, they're going to put it to a vote, and then they're just going to say no, and then, I mean, I don't know how the whole escalation process looks like.
Well, usually what happens is that both sides have to vote in favor of it.
Yeah, right. So
That's why it doesn't happen.
yeah, so, but like, okay, it doesn't happen, but then, like, how do you escalate that? Like, what's the next level from that?
Don't know. We're going to places we've never been before.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to sound, what's the word? Prophetic.
Okay.
But in the immortal words of Abraham Lincoln, this nation cannot long endure half slave and half free.
Interesting. All right.
But we're here.
We have one last question.
Well, what's that?
Nicholas says, would Charles please talk about Cardinal Zen?
Cardinal Zen is the practice of Zen Buddhism wherein you...
No. You know who Cardinal Zen is?
The Archbishop of Hong Kong, retired.
Yeah.
Hero of the faith.
Yes.
A hero of the faith, and one who, not unlike Cardinal Pell, was thrown under the bus and to the dogs by our friends in Rome. Only instead of trumped up sex charges, they were trumped up communist political charges, which, it's almost a cliche. It would be as if Cardinal Vincenti had been in Rome and Pius XII had turned him over to the Reds in Budapest. So what do you want me to say to that, you know?
I don't know. What
can I say? There's no way to pay him back except for the Pope to apologize, and the Holy Father is not very well known for doing that kind of thing. It's difficult to apologize when you've taken a fourth vow to obey yourself.
Okay.
It's true, he has. He's a Jesuit. So he has to obey the Holy Father. And anything that pops out of the Holy Father's mouth, Pope Francis has to accept as perfection and the voice of God.
Excellent. Is that it for Cardinal Zen? I mean, that's it. Is he?
Well, I mean, he's in the hands of the enemy, and will he ever escape? I don't know. Will he die? I don't know that either. I don't know his term. I don't know anything about anything. All I can tell you is that he wrote a lot of really, really good stuff while he was allowed to. And now he is not really allowed to function publicly, thanks to the communist scumbags in China, whom the Holy See has yet made another deal with. Another deal with slime. What's not to like? I'm all for it. Because you know what?
What?
A willingness to deal with slime and to turn over to their control decent, maybe even saintly people, shows that one is flexible and not rigid.
Sometimes you got to drink the poison to find the antidote.
Wow. 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 I'm gobsmacked, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. I mean, I can see the truth of it. I have no problem with the thing it said. I just, wow. Sometimes you got to drink the poison to find the antidote. Yeah, you know, they don't make wisdom like that anymore. You won't find that in most modern fortune cookies, let me tell you.
Imagine if you saw that in a fortune cookie.
Yeah, it sounds like something you see.
That's almost a lawsuit in a cookie.
You know, it sounds like something you'd see in a fortune cookie. Sometimes you gotta drink the poison, or you know what? It could be the magical Negro.
How's that? Oh, that's true. Know. That's a line. Yeah, okay, that's a type of magical Negro line. Yeah.
You know, son, sometimes you just gotta drink the poison to find the antidote.
Yeah.
What does that even mean, Uncle Elmer? Well, I don't know, really. I just say these things. I don't know what they mean.
Whew. So it's hot. We're at the end of the show.
It's hot. The show is coming to an end. It's like it's like the 3rd of June. Another hot and dusty something Delta day. Did you want to go out and bale some hay while I go chopping cotton?
No, I just want to stay inside and have the fan on me and then veg out.
What about that nice preacher man, Brother Taylor?
What about him?
Well, he said he saw somebody a lot like you with Becky Thompson's sister-in-law, and you were dumping something up on Choctaw Ridge off the muddy waters of the Tallahatchie Bridge.
I would say that's fake news.
But Brother Taylor is a man of the cloth.
Honestly, if I was talking to him, I would ask him one question.
What's that?
I'd say, Brother Taylor, what is it if it's Monday?
And he would say, it's off the menu. And you know what he might well say to you?
What?
He might ask you, yes.
What about the soul you save?
It may be your own, says Brother Taylor.
See you next time, everyone.
God bless all.